what we're going to do is take a look at how we can use the question mark to get help with the command line and some of the other special keys and Emacs and those types of things. First of all, the question mark is designed to show you all of the commands that you both have permission to run and can run from the point in the command prompt where you are. Now, there's no letters preceding my question mark, so I'm just looking at basically the top level commands that I could run. And one of the top level commands that we usually use as an example of getting help is the clock command, managing the system clock. Now, that's not the best way to do your clock, but it is a way of looking at it. Now, if you forgot how to spell clock, but you knew it at least started with a C, this is called context-sensitive help. So I type the letter C with no space, and I simply hit the question mark, and it'll show me all of the commands available to me that start with the letter C. Now, the other great thing is that it shows me how to do the abbreviations on the commands. Where I have two commands that both start with the letters C and L, clear and clock, I know that if I just type CL and I hit enter, I'm going to get an ambiguous command error because the router doesn't know which of these two commands you're wanting to use. So what is nice is that you can, well, I could just use CL0 or O, I'm sorry, because that is the three first letters of clock, and there are no other commands that start with CLO. I just saw that list. But there's more to it. When I hit enter, I now get incomplete command because the router says, you know, you want me to do something with the clock, but I need a little more information. And so that's where we come in here and using the help. So we already know that if you don't put a space between what you've typed and hit question mark, that you get all the commands that start with whatever you've typed. I have now typed the first level command clock, and if I put in the question mark now, I see what list of commands I have left. Now, in this particular case, this is the command I can type, and this is the brief description of what that command is supposed to be. And so it looks like I can type clock set, and it says I'm going to set the time and the date. Well, again, if I hit enter, incomplete command, that means there's more to it. Now, here's one of your first hints when you're doing these commands. By default, your last 10 commands that you had entered by are available to you with the up arrow. You can just scroll through whatever history of commands up to the last 10. So I just hit the up arrow to get to clock set. I'm doing a question mark. And here it wants me to put in whatever the current time is supposed to be, and it's showing me the format of the time. Now, what's interesting is you don't know, or you might never know when you're doing this, if there's more to the command than what I just typed in. So instead of just hitting enter and trying to worry about an incomplete command, I'm going to just hit the space bar and the question mark, and then it wants the day of the month, space, question. Now, did you notice here that these are not lowercase options for those commands? This is a range of numerical values that I can use. And whenever you see a word that's all capitalized, that is not a Cisco command. I mean, up here, all lowercase, they wanted me to type the command set. The hours, minutes, and seconds, right, all lowercase. It's, well, they didn't want me to type that literal format, but to put it in that format. But month, or whenever you might see something that says line or word, means they're just expecting you to type something in there. And by the way, they don't tell you, look at this, they don't tell you what the month is, so you kind of have to guess or know, like I have, that they want the 3-letter abbreviation for the month. All right, and then the year. So apparently we can only go up to 2035. That's okay. I'm hoping that I'll be well retired by then. But there's my year. I'm hitting the space question mark. Do I still have more to type? I don't know. Let's hit enter. Look at that. It says I'm fine. How would I know if I was fine unless I hit the question mark? Whenever you see a list of commands or just by itself the letter CR, so the letters CR could come at the end of a list of commands, or it might be by itself. When you see the CR, it means that you can hit the carriage return because you've typed enough information that it's not an incomplete command anymore. And so that's one of your ways to figure that out, such as if I do a show command, well, right there it's going to yell at me. I do my question mark, And there's nothing at the end of this list that says CR. If I type show interface and then space question mark, I have a list of commands, but I also see that I can hit CR and something will happen. It might not be exactly what you want. You might want to delve into what these other options are, but it does at least give me the opportunity to know when I can hit something like the carriage return. Now, one last little thing. I'm going to go back up to the clock set command that I typed. So I just hit my up arrow a couple times. Not necessarily here, but in many cases, when you want to undo a command, you have to put the word no in front of the command. And some of your commands might be quite a bit longer than what you see, and you might not want to sit here holding down the arrow to get to the front of that. And so we have, through the old terminal emulation, these things called Emacs. And I thought these two right here would be very good for you to know. If I type Control A, you see where it moves my cursor to the very front, and I can type the word no. By the way, your cursor does not have to be at the end of the command to be able to work when you hit enter. I could hit enter here, be just fine. If you hit Control E, because some of you might just prefer to be there with your command, E for end, A, I guess the first letter of the US alphabet, so that's the beginning. But that's two besides the up arrow that I was just talking about, or even the down arrow to show you, again, the order of commands that you've done, I think are also things that are very useful for you when we're talking about help.